everyone. My name is Abby, and I want to tell you about my mom. No, she is not some kind of criminal or the wife of a billionaire. She is a gamer. And if you think that is cool, then you are mistaken. This mother's hobby hasn't done any good. We live in a quiet and peaceful life in the small town of Leawood. I liked living here, but my mother has always wanted to leave it in order to move to a metropolis with many opportunities and a wide variety of entertainment. The fact is that she feels very bored in Leawood and is constantly trying to find something interesting for herself. She has a lot of hobbies from painting to modeling clay pots, but she burns out quickly and then looks for something new again. So, one day, my mother decided to explore the world of video games. She often saw me hanging out at the computer and playing games. At first, she didn't like it and thought it would be better if I read books for so long. Dad supported her in this. Over time, they somehow calmed down and left me alone, but not for long. Mom wanted to try and play something too, so I turned on a survival simulator on a deserted island for her. Oh, this game captured her greatly. She was playing all night and did not even notice it. Mom said that she and Dad scolded me in vain because plunging into the virtual world was really exciting. Then I showed her a lot of other game genres, and she liked RPGs the most. Moreover, she liked it so much that she refused to allow me to work on the computer. I couldn't even print a report or send an important email. Mom did not see or hear anything around her because she was in another universe. By that time, I realized that her hobby would do no good, and I was not mistaken. We often fought, but these scandals led nowhere because my mother still did not allow me to work on the computer. So I had to go to one of my friends' houses to do my homework. I used to spend too much time going to my friend's house doing my homework there and then returning home. As a result, I was so tired that I was just holding on from sleeping, even at school. This affected my academic progress. My grades became much worse because I didn't really listen to the teacher. He decided to talk to my parents, but only my dad came because my mother was hanging out at games. After returning home, my dad had a serious talk with Mom. She said that she understood everything and promised no longer to sit at the computer. We were happy to hear that because no one liked that she was devoted so much to games. But it was too early to celebrate because Mom found another way to play games. She bought herself a PlayStation 5 as well as several games so that she could play calmly and cause no trouble for anyone. My father and I did not mind, being confident that she would burn out and abandon everything as before. But we were wrong. Whereas previously she played only in the evenings, later she began to play all day. At first, my dad and I did not know about this, thinking that she continued to go to work. Mom even used to put on her business suit and leave home early. But as it turned out, it was just a performance for us. You wonder how we knew about it, right? One evening, my mother's boss called us and said that she was fired for being absent during working hours. As it turned out, she hadn't been at work for 2 weeks. She was warned repeatedly that if she didn't show up, she would be fired. Mom just smiled and said that she didn't care because she wanted to become a Let's Player. I couldn't believe my ears. How could my mother, who held a serious position in a large company, say that? After all, she always valued her work and never took bloggers and streamers seriously, claiming this was not a profession. She was convinced about what she was going to do more than ever. Mom bought an expensive microphone, a webcam, and looked through a bunch of guides about Let's Play. But all this brought disaster. You should have seen that trash she did during the streams. She played so badly that she immediately became one of the main memes among gamers. Even at school, I was told that my mother was a real noob and that she had pinchers instead of hands. Mom naively thought that she would easily get a bunch of subscribers and donations. But her rose-tinted glasses broke after a week. No one wanted to subscribe to her channel, and then she decided to use the promotion services. But my mother was unsuccessful even in this. She contacted fraudsters who took a large sum of money and did not provide any services that offended the whole world. She hadn't touched a gamepad for a whole week. I thought this was a valuable lesson for her, which could definitely make her change her mind. Once I saw how she was looking for a job on a website, and I was delighted because I thought this nightmare was over. But I was mistaken. It continued, and everything got much worse. Every time she tried to email her CV, she was distracted by games. As a result, my mother pretended to be looking for a job, and instead she just played. And then a bigger disaster happened. She was donated. It was a small sum of money, only $50, but it went to her head as if she was a professional streamer. Gaming captivated her even more, and she began to buy all the games in a row. I mean, she could buy good games, bad games, new games, and even irrelevant games. Money literally flew away from the family budget because Dad's one salary was not enough for us. But my mother did not seem to understand this. As soon as new games appeared in the online stores, she immediately purchased it. My dad and I tried to talk to her, but Mom said games made her happy, and we shouldn't stop her from being happy. But she did not want to understand that her new hobby made us face big problems. My father had to take extra shifts at work to cover all of Mom's debts, but this still was not enough for a normal life. I could not even afford to have lunch at school, but my mother still found money for games? One day, she took money from my piggy bank, which I was saving up for a new iPhone. But the fun had just begun. Mom started playing a shooter game with some people. This was not unusual because she often played with people, but they were betting. For example, if Mom could capture an enemy base, then she was paid $1,000. If not, then she was considered to lose the argument and accordingly pay the person herself. She did not know how to play, but at the same time, she felt like a cyber athlete, so she had a 10-1 defeat. As long as my dad and I were in the dark, we did not pay attention to her bad mood because of the defeat. Only later did we find out why she was so upset. Once, she forgot to turn off the Discord, and there I read all of her correspondence with the other gamers. When I saw the amount of debt, my heart almost stopped. Where would we get so much money? At that moment, we didn't even have enough money for food. Having told my father about everything, I did not think that he would get so angry. In a pitch of fury, Dad broke the console and threw it out. When my mother saw this, she caused a scene. We tried to talk to each other, but were constantly bursting into yelling and tears. Mom did not try to understand that because of our hobby, we had large debts. Then Dad brought Mom's favorite casket and opened it. Previously, there was gold jewelry that he gave her inside, but now it was empty. Yes, we had to sell all the gold to repay her debts to our friends. Mom looked at the box, burst into tears, and began to apologize to us. Finally, she started to realize that she was wrong. Mom said that she would definitely correct her behavior and stop playing. But, as you might have guessed, she broke her promise. One day, I came back from school early and found her sitting at the computer. I unplugged the power cord and reminded her of her promise. Mom immediately left the computer and tried to do something else, but nothing fascinated her so much. She wanted to hang out in a game to relax and calm down. It hurt me to see her this way. Previously, she was a strong and successful woman, but there was nothing left of my former mother. She was addicted to games and no longer needed anything else. After we realized this, my father and I decided to take her to a psychologist, believing that she had a gambling addiction. The doctor confirmed this and said that if she had a desire, she could change herself and stop playing. Mom replied that she'd love to do anything if only we were all happy. And then, our life began to improve. Mom attended meetings where people with similar problems gathered, and my father and I tried to settle the debts. However, this wasn't going to work because the money kept disappearing as soon as it appeared on the account. It disappeared immediately. We thought that Mom started trouble again, but everything turned out to be worse. The gamers for whom she owed money did not want to wait for the debt to be paid back. They began to threaten my mother and say that their influence would be enough to ruin the life of our entire family. Then my mother gave them all the details of our card, and they could withdraw our money easily. Dad blocked the card immediately, but it was too late. The gamers managed to withdraw everything, and we found ourselves in a horrifically bad situation again. We had only $50 left for a whole month. Dad was so upset that he didn't talk to Mom all evening. I felt the same. Apparently, this somehow influenced her and she decided to put things right. As a first step, she got a job. Although the position was low paid, she was paid each shift, and all this money was spent on food and paying off her debts. Then she got a second job, and such a workload helped her to not think about games. And soon she managed to overcome her addiction. Besides, she found a new hobby: knitting. Moreover, she did it so well that she started to receive orders for knitted stuff and make money on it. And over time, we were able to pay off all her debt and start with a clean slate. Do your parents play video games? Write your answers in the comments, leave a like on the video, and share it with your friends. Hello, everyone. My name is Ariana. Recently, I decided to take part in something very important for me and did not doubt my victory at all. However, instead of the competition, I got a lot of stress and became a walking horror. Probably at that time, I wouldn't even be able to lead a freak show, but fortunately, that period has passed. I want to share with you this story, which has become insightful for me. Since childhood, I have heard from my parents only very good and kind words, which time after time raised my self-esteem higher and higher. And I have always considered myself, without exaggeration, a real beauty. My father still calls me a charming princess, and my mother calls me a queen. My parents never allowed me to doubt myself and suggested that I was the most beautiful. Probably this is good not only for girls, but also for any child in general. Who will support us and give us a strong start if not our parents? However, now I understand that my parents exaggerated. Why did they tell me that I was the most beautiful? Why? Because of these words, I've always considered myself better, more beautiful, more worthy than any of my friends or classmates. This started to cause me a lot of trouble in kindergarten. Oh, and how many tears and energy wasted was spent on showdowns with other girls who said that they considered themselves or someone else more beautiful than me. But why? Why did my parents choose such a parenting model and make my appearance the center of my universe? And almost since birth, I was dragged to various beauty contests and fashion shows. I don't even know whose self-esteem it was supposed to raise, mine or my parents'. But even that was not good for me. Yes, I often won, but when I did lose, my world would collapse. I could cry for weeks, get depressed, and resent that someone else was more beautiful than me. It was a painful blow to my artificially nurtured pride. Once at school, our class began to prepare for a New Year's performance, and it was decided to make a dance of the Snow Queen with snowflakes. And at that moment, I had no doubt that I should have the main role because I'm the best. The queen, who, if not me, only for some reason the class decided otherwise. And Melinda was chosen by a majority of votes for the role of Snow Queen. What? Is this a joke? I'm the queen. The main role should be mine and no one else's. I began to protest, realizing that there was no mistake in choosing. I began to call Melinda a freak and a scarecrow. Then the head teacher arrived, which extinguished the conflict, but the conflict was not settled, and after school, they were waiting for me. Right outside the school gates, the girls from my class were waiting for me. They were furious and started yelling at me that I was a narcissist and an idiot who was far from beautiful, but pretended to be a queen. And then they started hitting me. Fortunately, they were driven away by passing passerby, and I ran home to cry. No, not from physical pain, but from mental pain. My parents taught me that beauty is the most important thing, and today I was forced to doubt my beauty. It was very humiliating and painful for me. But still, after crying for half the day, I decided that the problem was not with me. These girls are fools and just jealous, and I am a beauty queen. Boys, by the way, are also fools and are led by the nose by girls, so everything is clear with them. And after that, I went back to school with my head held high. What a pity that the incident did not teach me anything. In high school, my parents sent me to a modeling school, and then a new streak of ambition, self-conceit, and arrogance began in my life. And for the first time in my life, I had friends who were as narcissistic as I was. Although it is difficult to call it friendship because, first of all, we were rivals. When they began to offer us various shooting and participation in shows, we instantly turned from friends into the worst enemies and were ready to do anything for our own benefit. Once the producer of a reality show came to us, getting to him was the height of the dreams of every young model. I was no exception, and like everyone else, I thought I was the one who deserved the role. The selection was very tough, and the girls were eliminated one by one. It was a small end of the world for them, but I was still among the candidates, so I remained optimistic. It so happened that in the end, I and Tina, the girl with whom I was the closest friend, had to fight for the right to become a participant in the show. I had two feelings. On the one hand, the goal was as close as ever, and on the other hand, this is my friend. It's not very pleasant to compete one-on-one with her. However, in the end, I still had to prioritize friendship is friendship and work is work. And I calmly began to walk towards the dream, but it seemed that Tina had other plans and was determined that friendship would win. Tina didn't show up in any way, and I could see that she was giving in to me. When I asked her why she gave up, she said, "We're friends. Friendship is above all else," and thus knocking me sideways. I felt ashamed and decided to join Tina's tactics. As a result, at the final fashion show, I just went on stage in ordinary clothes and sneakers with a ponytail and smiled at the selection committee. It was a shock to them, but they were even more shocked when Tina came on stage. She prepared for this fashion show 200% differently, and it was a real knife in the back for me. I just didn't expect such a betrayal. Tina got the part. She was happy and elated, and I was an idiot, left with nothing. It took me a long time to get over it and move on. I even thought that now I would not believe in people, but it was not that easy. After about a year, Tina started asking me for forgiveness. She roared and said that she realized how badly she had treated me and that she ceased to respect herself after that incident and tearfully asked to give her another chance. Tina said she missed me and would like us to become friends again as before. It turned out that I was not a vindictive person at all, so I quickly forgave Tina and we began to be friends again. The girls from the model school twisted their fingers at their temples and wondered how I managed to enter the same river twice, and they told me that Tina would set me up again, but I still didn't believe them. Ironically, at that time, Tina had already finished shooting that reality show, the role in which she literally stole from me, and new opportunities appeared on the horizon. This time we were informed that we were going to participate in a beauty contest. The winner will receive the main prize, a contract with a world-class advertising agency. After learning about this, Tina and I immediately agreed to support each other, to be happy for each other's victories, but in no case to plot against each other and not to be jealous. Preparation was in full swing. We practiced not only skills, but also ordered different dresses for the competition, props, and we honed our vocal skills, public speaking skills, and acting skills. I don't think I've ever been as tense in my life as I was that month. And now the day of the contest has come. I was 100% ready and already smelled the sweet smell of victory. And my parents, as usual, shared my position with me. I'm smart and beautiful, so the crown should have gone to me. It's a pity, of course, for the other girls, but nothing can be done. The strongest will win. I had no doubt that this time the competition would be fair, and the organizers of the competition guaranteed us that. Only a small touch remained, and I had to go to a beauty salon for makeup, manicure, pedicure, and hair. This is a common practice for all contestants at the last moment. After all, this is an important competition, and you can't come to it with yesterday's makeup. Everything went according to plan, and the masters of their craft did their work for 100 points exactly as I expected. However, the new hairdresser was a little blunt and asked me several times about my hairstyle, and then said, "Oh, you need to get your hair straightened out in the back." Oops, have I been wearing a crooked haircut this whole time and no one told me? But if it has to be done, it has to be done. Therefore, I agreed to trim the ends, and I buried myself in my phone so as not to get bored. Almost immediately, I heard the sound of clippers turning on, But I didn't care, thinking it was for some other customers in the seats next to me. It took a while for me to realize I was being shaved. But as soon as a huge lock of my hair fell into my hands, I almost died of a broken heart. Then I looked in the mirror and saw that I had no hair on half my head at all. I was bald. Do you realize what I'm saying? Baldy, right on the day of the contest. It was a real disaster for me. I started screaming in horror. I needed the help of doctors as soon as I had an emotional breakdown from hysteria and then from depression. I had to be taken out with the help of medication. I'll put it simply. I was temporarily placed in a mental institution, and when I came out, I finally learned more about that day. It turned out that my parents had bribed the jury of the competition, and I should have won the competition with my father's money. Tina also knew about this, so before the competition, she made friends with me again, but only in order to find out which salon I would spruce up in before the competition. Upon learning this, she hired a hairdresser who infiltrated my salon and disfigured me. By the way, Tina won the contest and now lives in Miami with her parents and sister. I just grow my hair and think about the beauty industry, the modeling business, the importance of appearance, and friendship relationships. In fact, I have a lot of things to think about, and it seems like it's time to think about the spiritual as well. Do you think I should return to the modeling business, or should I look for myself in another field? Share your tips in the comments. Click on the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel.